Thanks, Ori. Thanks for inviting us. Yeah, public goods for the advancing the field of token engineering. I have a background actually in design originally, and I spent many years in early stage startups in the Web 2 world. And I was always fascinated by the moment when new tech hits reality, and you can see and observe how it changes our behavior. We had this topic of driving behaviors today already, and also the unforeseen effects of driving behavior, driving interactions, also our perception of the world and ourselves. So this was the fascinating part in tech to me always. And the frustrating part in tech to me was whatever we built. This was Web 2 in 2017. I worked in renewable energy and decentralization of energy. The frustrating part was always you can't have the real impact, you can't make fundamental changes without addressing the economic questions. So getting the economic incentives right is actually the handle we have for change in our world, and particularly for the changes we need in the 21st century: climate crisis, nature, fair distribution of wealth, etc. Okay, so this was my starting point in crypto 2017. And I share a little bit of my journey at TE Academy, which I founded in 2020. And what we did for content, visibility, community development, and also what incentives we apply ourselves at TE Academy to offer public goods and to further develop public goods. All right, first, our values. So the values of TE Academy. It's free education. It's about the people, give and get, and creativity, not curriculum. And we'll get to that in more detail in a moment. First, what is token engineering? How many of you have heard about token engineering, or maybe tokenomics? Awesome. This was very different in 2017 and also in 2020 when we started. It's an emerging discipline focused on the design, validation, and optimization of token-based economic systems. Design means you have requirements, you try to achieve a certain goal. Validation, you try to verify if you land at these goals, and game theory are great examples of how you design economic incentives. And you have to verify if you really land at this land at the system properties, at the intended behavior. And this can be a process like we've heard earlier when Jonas talked about what they do at Optimism. So it's about human behavior, there's no guarantee. This is not mechanical system design. You are addressing humans, and you have to observe if they show the right behavior. Of course, we have examples where this is easier because you can define an outcome in terms of profits, and it can be much harder if the intended outcome is more related to things like reputation. Okay, this is validation, and optimization means you observe, you monitor the system, you try to improve. And this also means that there is no finite token design in any token ecosystem. So if you try to imagine a project addressing us with, okay, we are launching a token, can you design the mechanism? Then because these systems evolve, you have a continuous evolution of the project and the protocol itself at its core, at the software, when it comes to users, when it comes to applications that interact with the software, and when it comes to the ecosystem around it. So this is under continuous evolution, so expect that also anything you do with tokens, any design has to evolve over time, and that's why we have to optimize it, to monitor it. And the great news here is that with cryptoeconomic systems, token-based systems, we have data at a granularity we never had beforehand about an economic system. All right. And token engineering is a cross-disciplinary field. It combines computer science, cryptography with economics, game theory. We have operations, research, management science, the science about decision-making. In an automated context, we have industrial and systems engineering, complex systems engineering. We have optimization, AI, and control theory. And we have the human layer. Political science, governance, psychology and decision science, and philosophy, law, and ethics, much wider questions. And so what we did at TE Academy was we launched a TE Fundamentals. This is our main education program in 2020. And this is basically the first comprehensive curriculum about token engineering. It's 5 modules. Module 1, 2, 3, 4 is about the token engineering design process, so starting with the general idea of token engineering, discovery phase, so collecting the requirements, design phase where you translate these requirements in a mathematical specification because we are aiming for algorithms that can embed it in code. Module 4 is about this verification step, which usually includes building a digital twin in Python and running simulations. And then the module 5 part is an introduction to governance for token engineers, not only going over different voting mechanisms, also discussing broader questions like how can we shape new institutions based on algorithms, what's the human role and the role of algorithms in this context. And you can go to tokenengineering.net and can enroll to these programs. They are free, accessible for everyone, everywhere on the globe. And actually, we have students from all across the world and 21 time zones. Some numbers on our students. So by September, we passed 3,000 students enrolled, and a good mix when it comes to backgrounds. 42% economics, computer science, equal share in engineering, data science, and math. And 33% state that they plan to take up a token engineering role as main occupation. And this is good because projects are really lacking this expertise. I think we all agree that this is something very critical to the success of crypto, to design these economies in a robust way, in a reliable way, in a trustworthy way, and in a transparent way. And this needs more rigor than just pushing out tokens, launching a token, and then hope it will just grow in value and speculate on it. Which brings me to establishing a new discipline, because actually token engineering is a new discipline in its own right, and it's a crypto-native discipline. I don't know if you would be interested in, I'd like to become a token engineer, where would you go? Where would you learn? Any ideas? Yes. Other sources. And just, where would you start? I guess studying economics is not a bad idea, but then there's also a lot of computer science involved. So whatever you have at a traditional university is just one piece in this whole broad description of the fields, in this cross-disciplinary description or idea of token engineering, and that brought us actually to start our own academy and to design the TE Fundamentals program, because you can study it nowhere on this planet, and at the same time tokens are launched and distributed and bought and sold and are created and disappear every single day, and it also defines a lot of the perception of the outside world on what crypto is, because it's not only about the code, right? It's about this economic disruptive elements in it, and it can be perceived in a very positive way and also in a very negative way. Okay, so we don't have any or very limited education, training available, and That's why we designed TE Fundamentals, to create this cohesion around this idea of token engineering and to have a starting point and also a reference point for anybody in crypto actually practicing token engineering without maybe even calling it this way. Okay, and the idea behind establishing this as a discipline in its own right is the idea of making this an engineering discipline side by side with electrical engineering, software engineering. Why engineering? It's not because of the technology, because we build on the tradition of engineering disciplines that includes rigorous analysis, design and verification. That's the important part. Reconciling theory with practice, another important element, and guided by a sense of responsibility, because we are building public infrastructure, right? And this should be safe for everyone. Good, our values, let's go back to this. Free education, and it's about the people. Free education, I've already mentioned. Our course program, TE Fundamentals, is free, and also the events we run. And it's about the people means we don't believe that it's enough to push out content, right? We should create interactions and relationships between the practitioners in the field with the researchers, with the projects, to really have an impact to establish this new discipline. This is EFCC 2023, and this is 3 years after the launch of TE Academy, and this was the first time we had an own track. It was pretty crowded, well received, and it was 1 day, 12 talks about token engineering from a very, again, reconciling theory with practice from a very practical point of view. The top 10 challenges of a token launch, how to put up a token engineering team, how to steer the token engineering process, the challenges projects face, and also people with really innovative solutions to that. Another part is AI-powered token engineering. This is a research project we have been running with TE Commons, which over the last couple of months researched how we can apply LLMs to the token engineering topic. And of course, this created a lot of attention and follow-up activities in the sector to how to employ AI agents and AI intelligence that can help us design and understand complex systems. And I can tell it's a huge potential. You can find this also at tokenengineering.net and in our YouTube channel. And I've brought a short video on the Barcamp, which we run this year for the first time, to give you a glimpse of where we are with the community and also of, just a flavor of the people there. Let's run it. I guess we are missing sound. Maybe it's not only the YouTube setting. Okay, no worries. I'll give you a summary. So we gathered in total 12 workshops from people, who are active in investment and VCs. For example, Tessa here in this video, who see token engineers as one, or the things we do in system verification as one element that is relevant for VCs to decide if a token investment is a reliable or solid investment. Another one is Chris here. He's one of the authors of T Fundamentals as well, and he's an expert in mechanism design, and he provided a workshop on how to get from requirements to a mechanism and the frameworks that exist. Then we had people also from the DAO space talking about token-based ownership. We had people who presented tools. Category theory is a very interesting field that can help us with programming languages and programming frameworks to design and verify systems in a mathematically proven way. Then we had people from our own community, how to steer this sector. So it was a very broad mix of mathematicians, of social scientists, of people active in token projects. And I think we can clearly see this also in the residency at Funding the Commons. It's so important to bring people together to advance the field, and compared to where we have been at a year ago, this was a huge progress. Also connecting all these activities to what's going on in the DeFi sector, to what's going on in risk management, in data science, in crypto. Okay, I would jump to the next. Can you stop the video maybe and we go ahead? This is another element. We're still at visibility, creating visibility for this new field, establish it. This is TE Weekly Reads, a weekly newsletter curating token-related topics from crypto and beyond. Like we discussed, can token engineers predict token prices? Interesting questions, can we? Innovation through limitation, this is about design approaches. Overcoming a romantic view of Web3 governance. We had this topic as well today. How major projects are dealing with token model changes, so more advanced projects like the MakerDAO, new voter policies at Aave, or verifying token models. Then also regulation is a big topic in the space, of course, and flywheels like the token flywheel and trends and variants of it. So again, this is a weekly newsletter. If you're interested in it, subscribe. And next one. Can you help me flip the... Okay, yeah, just showing the partners. We have been really lucky with our partner support for our educational activities, for our events that we have been running, like the ECC, but also weekly events where we open the stage for projects who are doing interesting stuff, developing new tools, new ideas in the token sector. And most recently, got a grant from Optimism, also ENS DAO and TE Commons. Also working together with consultancies in this space. Interestingly enough, we are in a stage of token engineering where most token engineering practitioners work in consultancies, as opposed to they are internal token experts at projects, which has its downsides, I must say, but that's the current state. Yeah, and we are glad about this support because, again, you wouldn't be able to provide public goods without the support from these partners. And last but not least, I'd like to talk a little bit about our peer-to-peer study groups. The third and fourth value at TE Academy is give and get and creativity, not curriculum. Give and get means you get a lot for free and you're asked to give. And to give wholeheartedly, because we know that all our students have a lot to give, and we know that they get a lot, not only by the courses we offer, also by the networking opportunity, and they should have their space for creativity. These are some images from our courses and peer-to-peer study groups. And the idea behind these peer-to-peer study groups was actually not only having networking events or very open ways to discuss token engineering, also to scale up the TE Fundamentals program, the actual learning with the goal to pass an exam and to create this shared view, shared understanding of what token engineering is. And here you can see our study group overview. We have an onboarding process, ongoing sessions, infrastructure, a training process. Then there's an evaluation to finally also reward the hosts with an NFT as a piece of information about their track record and reputation in the space. These are the criteria for rewards. You see that we have some policies involved, like you run minimum 10 sessions, or you have to prove that there were minimum 3 participants who passed their exams. So there are policies in place, and there's an evaluation phase that is transparent and open. But apart from that, the students are totally free to run their sessions. And these are there are quizzes, there are leaderboards, they are sharing their exams, where they struggle with exams, sharing a math derivation, supporting each other in many ways, and also fleshing out interesting session designs. And as I mentioned, we have NFTs, but the most interesting learnings for us in the study group host program, since it's cross-disciplinary, was how to get this cross-disciplinary collaboration really going. And what would you expect? What is the hardest part for cross-disciplinary collaboration? If you look at these fields that are some very technical, social sciences, very engineering heavy, and then political science. What would you expect? What's the hardest part in cross-disciplinary collaboration? Shared language. Can you elaborate some more words on it?
I mean, like different disciplines have different frameworks and words to describe the same thing. So somehow having a consolidated common language to discuss.
This was exactly what we expected. And actually what we've learned is also related to language, but in a very different way. And with this talk, I try to overcome this simplified notion of cross-disciplinary is hard because we all have different domain languages. To some part it's true, but this is not the essence of it. For us, yes, we expected that this is domain language and this will be the problem. And for example, how you define what a system is, and we are designing systems, is so different. Systems engineering, computer science, and behavioral economics. There must be struggles with it. And at the same time, we try to encourage people to work cross-disciplinary and to be patient and to be open to anyone. But actually, this wasn't the problem. Number one, the students had total freedom in how they design their sessions and what students to invite. And what we observed is that they formed their study groups around a similar goal. And this makes sense, actually. The DAO pals, the people who are interested in real estate, housing, and land ownership, driven by tokens, women and Web3. So sharing a similar goal is definitely relevant. And then cross-disciplinary collaboration is not a problem anymore. All these groups are very cross-disciplinary with computer science mathematicians in it. And the second one, also very interesting, language. We expected that all students would just speak English in their sessions because isn't crypto English? And very soon we got first questions. Can I run my study group in my native language? Can I run a Spanish study group? Can I run an Italian study group? A Polish one, a Portuguese one, an Arabic one? Some people even decided to talk Hindi. And this was super interesting. We have in total now 14 languages, and people study token engineering, all referring to English content in their own native language. And if you look at it, it makes total sense because you hear these groups are not only sharing the same native language, they are sharing a similar cultural background. They often share a similar walk of life. They share what they perceive as the top challenges to be addressed with new token economies, with new incentives. And in this way, it also makes total sense. So our learning and maybe inspiration to get cross-disciplinary collaboration going, don't be afraid that people shy away from people that are talking another domain language. If they have a similar goal, you'll get it going. And if they share a similar background, you'll get it going. And this was good news. More, what we've learned is attention is a scarce resource, but sense of belonging matters. This refers to a similar background. Actually, also, today we don't have problems in finding study group hosts. They all spend their time for free. They all offer these sessions and invest time in creating, designing these sessions without any monetary compensation. And still, we always have more applications than slots available. And what you need, though, is clear policies and infrastructure so that they can focus on the learning goals. And the most important incentive is reputation and access to other token engineers. The results, 3,000 students enrolled, more than 1,000 exams passed in less than a year. TE Fundamentals was launched in October 22, 45 study groups across 14 languages, and the TE Weekly reads more than 5,000 subscribers with a 40% opening rate. That's it. Thank you.